Hello, and thank you so much for requesting this three-part audio on mindset mastery, how to discover and reprogram your limiting beliefs for good, kick fear and stuckness, shine your light, and get into flow and stay there. My name is Randina Marie, and I am your mindset mastery mentor. You can find out more about me at www.randinamarie.com. I am a licensed master neurolinguistic programming practitioner and a certified life coach. I've got several other certifications that you can find when you go to my website. So I want to thank you first of all for requesting this information, as this information is the same tools and techniques that I teach my clients to get out of stuckness, out of fear, and to reprogram their limiting beliefs so that they can use the manifestation tools that they've been taught to create real life results in their realities. So I hope that you enjoy this and that you utilize it. If you would like, get a pen and paper so that we can go through this process together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about fear and what it really means. And we hear the old adage that fear is false evidence appearing real, which they never tell you why it appears real. So what I'm going to do is hopefully unbreak these belief structures within you that fear is a natural part of life and that it's just part of something that you have to overcome with your willpower, because that's never fun and it doesn't allow you to shine your light and expand like you came here to do. So part of the process is releasing these limiting beliefs and fears, and also reprogramming and growing the positive beliefs that you already have within you so that it can become a natural, true core confidence from within, and then you go out into the world and share your gifts. So this process is one of the tools that you will use to get yourself there. It's also how I have been able to transform my life from an abusive relationship and poverty living to now I'm in a beautiful, soulful, loving connection relationship, and also doing very well financially. I was able to leave that situation that I was in and create a life for myself and my two children. So this stuff works. You know, it really is beneficial when you can engage it and add it to what you're already doing in your life, because you wouldn't be this far and you wouldn't be listening to this right now if you haven't obtained some level of success in your life. You just have to look and filter for it and then hold on to that and grow it so that you can see it more than you usually do. I mean, we're trained to look at ourselves and not praise ourselves as though that's something that we're not supposed to do, or it's not looked upon as good. And 70 to 80% of the patterns that we have operating in our consciousness are limiting and stifling to the human behavior or human life force when we're on autopilot. So the fact that you're even being conscious and knowing that there's processes out there that you can use to transform your life and become conscious of these automatic programs and patterns is just amazing. And I know that you have such a beautiful, monumentous journey ahead of you, and I'm happy that you're here. Okay, so let's get into fear. What fear really is. So fear really is your brain's alarm system that is alerting you that there's something unknown that is potentially life-threatening. So when fear is on a scale of 0 to 3, this is a natural. When it's a low 3, this is a natural auto response that your brain does to let you know, hey, you're treading into unknown territory. There may be something here that you need to be careful for. So fear is also the same hormone as excitement. So if it's this low on the scale of 1 to 10, it's either excitement. It's not really something to be alarmed of. Now, when the fear is at a high level 3, between a 4 and a 10, now that is when you want to really look and dig internally to figure out what it is. It's usually linked to genetics, genetic programming. We are programmed by our parents and our ancestors. Genetically, it's how we've survived as a species. There's also learned and conditioned programs that are going in there. If our parents were naturally fearful people, or if they had an underlying tone of fear, we would have been in that vibration, so it would become part of us. The programs that are operating are usually not ours. They're just what we've been conditioned to use, and then also traumas. Now, traumas are usually firsthand experiences that cause you to be afraid, and those need to be looked at further. For the sake of this process, what we're going to do is learn a process that's going to allow you to trail it down to the root so that you can shine a light on it rather than it just being an automatic response. You can understand that your fears are usually irrational, and when you can shine a light on them, even on your limiting beliefs, you can then transform them, because whether people are aware of this or not, there usually is a secondary gain for why they hold on to limiting beliefs. And you have to look at that too, because if you have a secondary gain for holding on to a limiting belief, it's going to be harder for you to let it go, even if it's stifling your life force. So you want to make sure that you look at it without judgment and not allowing your ego to get in the way and say, no, that's not mine, I am good enough, and all this stuff. We all know consciously that we are good enough, but unconsciously we were taught a completely different thing. So this is all about creating awareness, because it's only in awareness that your life is going to expand. Okay, so let's get started with the fear process and the limiting belief process. So when I say limiting belief, you want to pay attention to where you're triggered. So not only fear about when you're going to go and do something else, but maybe when you're in a relationship and you might, just for example, if there is some jealousy there that comes up, you want to pay attention to those triggers, because underneath of that jealousy is a lie. So, people will say, oh, he's insecure or she's insecure or anything like that. Well, when you trail that jealous feeling, or if you've been hurt by something somebody else says, when you trail it down, your subconscious mind really believes that your life is being threatened, that your worthiness is being threatened. If you do not feel worthy, then therefore you have no place on this planet. And so that's what the trigger brings up. And that's why we go from a 0 to 10 really quickly, is when there's been some kind of programming or trauma that goes against how we're naturally supposed to live as spirits in human form. So I'm going to teach you how to get to the root of it. So every time you feel it, every time you get into a situation where it's like, that you've been there before, every time you feel fear, what's actually happening is you're strengthening the neuronal highway in your brain and creating more neural nets and strengthening that and creating more evidence or filters to filter for evidence so that you can prove yourself right. So this is what's going on in the brain. So it's really important to get to the root of it. So how you figure out what it really means so that you can get your subconscious and conscious mind to see how irrational it is and how to heal it is to use your feelings. Right when you feel it, you want to write it down. Once you use this process a few times, you will have the ability to just do this in your mind and clear it out right away. But you want to start with writing it down. So you want to use your feelings. So if you have self-worth and deserving issues, there's always two sides. There's a positive and a negative. So when you get into an experience and it causes you to feel not good enough, you want to write down the negative sides of it and really get into that. And then you use the positive sides to replace the negative and fill it up that way. So follow the process in the PDF that comes with these audios. So this is how you interview fear. So you stop and you hold on to the feeling and you write it down. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what is the worst thing that can happen if? So what's the worst thing that will happen if you continue to do the thing that you're doing that you're afraid of? You want to make sure that you talk to your subconscious mind and get to the root of it. Sometimes it will elude you. That's one of the reasons why people keep creating things, because they think that the issues are what's actually happening, when in reality that is just a symptom of a cause. It's as within, so without, always. And then the second question you want to ask is, what do I have to believe about myself in order to feel this way? Now, when you're in a situation, it's like, okay, well, in order to feel this pain, this jealousy, this I'm not good enough, what do I have to believe about myself? And you want to ask yourself this question a few times. And sometimes, if it's too personalized, my clients need to ask themselves, okay, well, what if somebody else was in this situation? What would they have to believe about themselves to be true in order to feel that way? And it might be easier for you to be able to gain knowledge of it there and not make it so personalized. So again, what do I have to believe about myself in order to feel this way, and write it down? It'll be, well, if I'm not good enough, then that means that nobody needs me. And if nobody needs me, then that means that I have no place. So you want to just trail it all the way down. You're always going to get to a point where it's all the root is that your life is threatened. That really is what the whole root of everything is, that you think that subconsciously that your life is threatened. Okay, so number 3 is, where have I felt this way before? So when you're interviewing that feeling and you're feeling into it, and what do you have to believe in order to feel this way? Where did you feel this way before? You want to make sure that you survey your childhood, because childhood is usually where it comes from. That was the imprinting phase, and that if the intensity level is pretty high, then that means that you've been carrying this with you and collecting evidence and experiencing this situation for a long time. So where have I felt this way before? The 4th question is, what does this feeling remind me of? You might want to replace the what with who does this feeling remind me of? When we start to make these connections of our patterns from learned environments, we can then release them. It's easier for our brain to let them go. And then 5 is, who did I learn this from? It's really important that you think back of who else had this pattern within you if it didn't come from a trauma of your own experience, because you're modeling behavior and it's not yours. You know, when we're little, it's like monkey see, monkey do. It's how we learn how to do everything from walking to talking to writing. So the next question you want to ask yourself is it mine? This is a big one, because a lot of times it won't be yours and it'll just be easy to release it. Sometimes it's your inner child that must be healed. So when we have a trauma or an experience or negative experience that's constantly causing us to feel bad, it's an immature expression within our being, and it's part of you that was stunted. So if it was due to a trauma and you can go back and link it, whether the limiting belief or the fear was due to a trauma, and you can think about that and still feel that intensity level higher than a 6, you will know that inner child work needs to be done. I see this a lot with my clients who are in the entrepreneurial arena, who are online or in a brick and mortar business, who are attempting to break barriers and communicate with a lot of people. They have a lot of worthiness issues. And the reason is because in my belief system, we have a blueprint before we come to this planet. And just like when you say if you say you want to create abs, or you want to, you're going to the gym and you're like, I want to have a 6-pack. You're going to have to follow this process and go to the gym and tear your abdominal muscles and do strength training, resistance training, until you come out on the other side and you've got it. So life kind of works the same way. If you have a theme of where you want to learn love and compassion, you're going to come to this planet and experience the opposite. So with light workers, they want to overcome all of this ancestral programming, because even though our higher self, our spiritual self, wants to shine the light and transform the planet, we incarnate in human bodies and we have the human condition. So we get into experiences and we live out life themes that cause us to experience the opposite of what it is that we actually desire, so that we can learn all of those lessons that we need to learn in order to have the greatest reward result that we can get. So that's one of the reasons why you're experiencing some of the things that you're experiencing, because on the other side of the limitation is the greatest reward. So when you can learn how to use this process in your day-to-day life, you can then take your life back in your own hands and do what you really came here to do. Okay. So now that you have some understanding about where these come from and the questions to ask yourself to dig them up, let's talk about the transformation. Usually this always works for scales of 4 to 6. When you have gone through one of the transformational processes with me, you will know how to do higher than 6, like 6 to 10, if you choose that. If not, you probably have a healer that you go to that can help you with this also. So the 4 to 6 is really easy to reprogram because it's not so ingrained, it's not so in depth. The 7 and higher is sometimes harder because you're in the frame, you're in the movie, you're living it. It's harder to see things from a third person point of view when you're constantly being pulled into first person. So let's get to this transformational process. So number one is the person I learned this from someone I want to follow in this area? Do I want to be like them? You really have to get your brain to think, if you learn this from somebody or somebody else taught you this or you're modeling someone, do you want to live your life like them? Usually the answer is no, not in that area because they haven't mastered it. And number two is, what will ultimately happen to my finances, my health, my relationships, my life purpose if I don't let go of this now? So you want to think of ultimately. Fast forward 10 years, if you still have this limiting belief, you still have this fear, you still have this trauma that you haven't let go of. The way life is energy is always in motion. We're always moving forward. So the lessons are going to get harder if you're not paying attention. You know, it's like Oprah says, you will get hit by a two by four if you're not conscious or paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing, according to your life plan. So number three is, do I want to hold on to this knowing it is stunning my growth? So when you get your brain to see that it's hurting you, it's not helping you, and the brain is trying to keep you safe, when it realizes it's hurting you, it'll let it go and it'll allow a healing. And number four is, how do I know this belief is bullshit? You want to really think about this because there's always a duality in your in your life. There's on one side there's love, on the other side there's hate. So if you're constantly subconsciously focused on this limiting belief, this thing that's keeping you stuck, on the other side of it is the opposite. So that's how you know that it's bullshit, because you can find evidence to support anything that you want to believe in this reality. Anything. And then number five is, what do I want to believe instead? So what would you rather believe? You know, now that you have all of this energy of what you currently believe, and you know that you can change your beliefs, because if someone decides to be a Christian and then changes their mind, or like goes through and does the Christian religion and then decides they want to be Buddhist, the second they make the decision to change, their reality will start molding around that change. So what do you really want to believe? And then how do you know that believing this new life-supporting belief is possible? So and also you want to find evidence. So who do I know that believes something similar and is experiencing a good life experience believing that? So look around in your environment and see who else in your reality has this new life-affirming belief that you can model. You also want to allow yourself to find new evidence. If you're having a hard time, just take a step back and take a deep breath. It's a lot of information and a lot of energy to process, and just continue to find someone. You can even use someone like Oprah, for example, whoever you want. It doesn't have to be someone you know personally. It helps if it's somebody you know personally. It doesn't have to be that. Okay, and the number 7 is, say out loud, I decide and choose to let this old belief of whatever it is go now, as I know it is not allowing me to grow, and I replace it with my new life-supporting truth of whatever it is that you want to experience. So number 8 is breathe deeply. You want to make sure that you're breathing deeply, because with the breath you're expelling energy. Close your eyes and imagine a light of divine healing energy filling you. Maybe you can call in some angels or whoever, whatever it is you believe, whatever deities. And ask the God of your heart to delete and remove the old belief and replace it with the new, so you can go forward on your mission to serve your gifts for others and the planet. This is very, very important. You want to also forgive yourself. So number 9 is to forgive yourself for holding yourself in this place for too long. Forgive all people that are involved in the situation. Forgiveness untethers the cords and the entanglement of judgment and concreteness. Because when we judge something, we hold it into place. It can't move if there's a judgment on it. You know, it's like if you're in court and you have a judgment, that judgment is on your record, it's not moving. So when you judge someone else, or when you judge yourself, or when you judge your situation, you're not allowing it to move or process or transcend. So release judgment and forgive yourself, really forgive yourself. Sometimes in the inner child work, you have to go to that little girl or that woman that was hurting and forgive yourself for that. And forgive the other people that are involved also. And then once you can do that, So number 10 is see the light travel down through your body from your head to your feet, transcending any and all density to light. See it travel down into the ground and allow this process to happen. Once you've asked the God of your heart to transcend and replace your limitations, it happens instantaneously. It's just the physical part that you have to allow to catch up. So you'll find once you do this process, you have different thoughts and feelings. You're not triggered the same anymore. It's almost like a release. I mean, my clients always say they feel lighter, and they a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, mostly 10 times out of 10, they can't access the same memory that we just released and reprogrammed. Even the trauma, even my clients with PTSD, they can't access the memory. It's reprogrammed with light and with love, and it's not the same as it was holding that dense space within their energy field. So now notice in your life where you're already living this new belief. So if your new belief is, I am worthy and I love myself, then look around in your reality where you're already doing that, because you are already doing it. We always have a mix of everything. And pay attention to how your thoughts change and notice how different you feel. It's so miraculous how it works. I mean, I've been able to release so many limitations. I used to be terrified to get on the stage and speak, and it's still a little nerve-wracking, but it's not like it was before. And it was because I had ancestral programming, most women do, of being, slaughtered basically for speaking their truth. So that's a big one that I see with my clients that are afraid of stepping out into the light, is feeling the fear of being attacked. So you want to look at that too, because you can trail that down and release that. Even if it is ancestral, you can request and allow God, the God of your heart, to transcend that dense energy, because it's not serving you anymore. You've got to let it go from the human body. So then you're going to want to future pace. So imagine yourself doing the thing that you used to be afraid of, and see yourself doing it with the new belief. Notice how calm you are when you open your eyes. Say it is done, thank you, thank you, thank you, and feel it. You want to make sure to get into the state of gratitude. Okay, so for fears that seem stuck, those ones are usually created by trauma, like I said, ancestrally, genetic, and they will require a session to get to the root of it. And so this works for almost all fears. You'll be able to feel if it's something really intense that you require help with. So it's not like you have to have that help if you don't feel like you need that help. You got to listen to your heart. And then, so number 14 is to start and keep an appreciation journal for 5 minutes a day. Now, appreciation vibrates a little bit different than gratitude. So in gratitude is where great things happen. But what gratitude is one step down from appreciation. So gratitude is, thank you for this thing that I didn't have before, and now I have it and I'm so grateful for it, which is really a good frequency to be on. And one step higher is appreciation. I'm so appreciative of this thing in my life. I'm so appreciative of this person. I'm so appreciative of myself. I'm so appreciative. Appreciation is the same as love. And that is the ultimate feeling. So that is why I say to start and keep an appreciation journal, and do this for 5 minutes of things that you appreciate in your reality. And for the next 5 minutes after that, express coherent appreciation for the things you want to experience in your future as if they are already yours. So you want to start to feel these things that you are requesting as an appreciation and love for them being in your life already. This causes the energy to move fast, especially since you just released these limiting beliefs and the fear. You've created a space. So you want to make sure that you deliberately inject it, so to speak, with the positive energy to create the magnetic attraction that you require to live out your fullest and highest potential destiny. And when you do this for 2 weeks only, your happiness set point will increase 25%. So your biological happiness set point, meaning your hormones that are for happy hormones in your brain, will be increased. And the love hormone, the oxytocin hormone, is the hormone that heals cells. It causes mutant genes to read as normal genes, to divide as normal genes, to duplicate, and all of those wonderful processes that happen within the body. Oxytocin, the love hormone, is the healing hormone. It's the healing energy. So
there's, let's see what I have time for. Okay, so I don't want to get too long into this first audio. So in the next audio, I'm going to teach you how to use your body as a magnet and how to use it to get in the flow of magic and abundance. It really is fun when you can really engage all of your being, your inner core beliefs, and also how to ensure that your new beliefs stick for good. So you're going to want to look in your inbox for that second audio. I'm so happy that I've been able to go over with this for you today, and I hope that you thoroughly enjoy it and that you use it in your life, because it really is life transforming. Take your power back into your own hands and create your life the way you came here to create it, so that we can all benefit from your beautiful gifts and your light. I send you so much love. This is Randina Marie. Thanks so much for listening, and I look forward to connecting with you again.